Aloha family, Spencer-Mack here. Time for an update. It's been a while. I've had a few people ask for an update as to my current trajectory in my diet. And I know I've been all over the place more in concepts of philosophy and substances than diet. But here I am, and I actually do have an update to share because we're quite different now. I've really found some really key pieces to my diet that I've been missing. If you've been following along, you know that my most recent diet fascination is the Localvore diet. I want to live off of a sustainably locally sourced diet. And I've been able to get to like 90% of what I eat, 85%. And largely that's because I was consuming locally raised beef and homegrown kalo and herbs and vegetables. And those are my staples. I was, however, buying some goat milk from time to time from the store, butter from the store. So these dairies, oh yeah, and I was consuming eggs regularly that I can get locally. But I wasn't able to find milk or butter. And that's what has changed for me recently. I found this guy locally, he's got a herd of like 60 cattle. He's milking 5 to 6 of them at a time. And I just got in on the herd share so I can get all raw milk. I'm getting 2 gallons a week, basically because I'm the kind of person that wants to just saturate in new things. I'll really feel what it has to offer me and get to know it as a food. So right now I'm getting 2 gallons a week of that. I'm stoked about that. I'm still getting the beef. Now, to make it extremely economically friendly, I've found that I can throw in with a friend and buy a half of a cow, and that'll last me 3 months. I get a quarter of it, my friend gets a quarter of it. So a quarter of a cow can last me up to 3 months and comes down to about $4 or $5 a pound. So you're getting ribeye, you're getting bones, you're getting ground beef, you're getting all these different cuts. They'll cut it up however you want to, and that all comes in the one set price. So that's been really awesome for me. I can just pack my whole freezer. I don't have to think about food for like 3 months, and I've got the beef on lock. I still want to, over time, search out the different cattle farmers here and see who has the best growing practices, who's got the most fertile land with the healthiest history, because some of the land around here has a dark history, growing pineapples and sugarcane, and the pesticides and the things that they put into the land. So I still want to hunt down who has the best cattle here. And I think my new friend, the dairy farmer, is going to be able to help me out with that. So I've been eating a lot of beef in that sense, steak, ground beef. Got this thinly sliced beef that you can just fry up, kind of like bacon. So good, really good quality, really good price. And then I manage another farm up the road, and I can get a lot of eggs from her. She's got tons of chickens, all free range. She does feed them some, it's all organic feed. And I mean, I'm getting like 4 dozen a week from her probably. And I do all sorts of things with the eggs, like pancakes, for instance, or waffles, because I grow kalo, which is like a potato. You cook that, you have it in the fridge, you pull some cooked kalo out, you throw it into a food processor, you throw a few eggs in there in the right ratio, blend it up, maybe add some protein powder if you're trying to bring the protein level up, and throw it in a waffle iron, and it's like ridiculous. Like kalo has a sticky kind of consistency to it that's kind of like gluten, so you can really make full-on breads with just egg and kalo. So needless to say, I was living on waffles for a couple weeks there. And on top of those waffles, I put honey. So let me just name all of my main food groups real quick, and then I'll go through the combinations of how I use them. So the beef, the eggs, the honey, which I source from right up the road, my neighbor. Also get a really good price on that. Local, I know the guy, I know where the bees are from. It's awesome. I got the milk and butter from this new friend that I just found. So yeah, meat, eggs, honey, milk, and butter. Let's see. And then the kalo and the herbs and the vegetables that I grow. So I'm stacked. I'm super grateful. I really feel that this dairy element was like this last key, because I have been enjoying milk from time to time, but I buy it from the store. I'm really not a fan of stores. I don't want to support the whole grocery store idea, or you're getting your food shipped in from God knows where in these massive, you know, warehouses where they process all this stuff. So I'm really happy to like know the cows, I know the farmers, I know the beekeepers, and it's all here in my environment. I get 100% of my RDA of everything that I need, all locally sourced within like 12 miles of me. So stoked about that. I'm supporting the local economy, I'm getting the freshest, most nutritious food I can possibly get. So yeah, I'm really happy with where my diet is right now. And as I said, I've been able to experiment thanks to having eggs in my diet again. I got really good at preparing a variety of foods when I was vegan and restricted to like not being able to use things like eggs. So now that I can use eggs, I can make the craziest, most delicious waffles of all time. Put some honey on them, make ice cream with the milk and the eggs and the honey. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. So on top of those 5 foods, I do supplement. I do buy some pasture-raised whole milk protein. And I do still intermittent fast. I'll talk about that in a minute. Something I'm real interested in right now, unfortunately I can't remember the name of the doctor to give him praise, but his perception is the protein energy ratio. Like you're eating 1 gram of protein to 1 gram of energy. I've been doing a protein carbohydrate balance to where anytime I have carbs, I have that many grams of protein. And I find when I eat that way, I have a much more stable blood sugar, you could say, following my meals. Far less hunger, of course, as protein does, and I'm still getting that fuel from having those carbohydrates. But it's not too much that it's like making me hungry or giving me kind of a blood sugar roller coaster, which I've had problems with in the past. So right now, every time I eat, I try to match the protein to the carbohydrate. If I'm not training, if I'm not exercising, I may stop eating the carbs. If I'm training or exercising a lot, I might raise the energy side of that equation up some and start consuming more carbs. Because I do work on a farm, I work on 2 farms, and I train, so I put in a lot. Like my calorimeter, the chronometer that I use tells me I should be consuming around 3,400 calories a day from, you know, when I've strapped a heart rate monitor on and use that throughout my work. So I'm supposed to be around there. So technically I'm still calorie restricted by 30% or so. I do 30 to 40%. I do intermittent fast. And now, as I've spoken about in the past, my window of intermittent fasting, I try to put more around the middle of the day. More like the Hindu perception of your digestive fire is stronger with the strength of the sun. So I could eat early as 7 o'clock, but I try not to eat past 2, 4 at the latest. And then I'm going to sleep empty stomach. You know, I don't inhibit that growth hormone spike. I feel like I drop in a lot deeper. And the evening's a lot more meditative for me. I like really get deep and I'm crystal clear when I wake up. So I'm grateful for that perspective. And I tend to always have some kind of a slump anyways, mid-afternoon, 1:30, 2:30. I want to just chill. I may sit and read, meditate, take a nap, but that just, for me, goes perfectly with the time to eat. It's the hottest time of day. I don't want to be outside getting sunburned in the middle of the summer. It's not the time to go work the land. So you're inside anyways. And so I find it is a good time just to eat my more dense meals and soak it in, absorb, get refreshed before I go back out for like my second day where I work in the afternoon and then I train again. So that's basically my pattern right now, doing the intermittent fasting, eating all of those local foods, trying to eat. Now I'm varying my window between 4 to 9 hours. And that just depends on how much work I'm doing and what my goal is. Like if I'm trying to consume more calories, I'm actually more prone to want to break them into smaller meals so that I really digest them fully, they don't slow me down, and spread them out over every 3 or 4 hours, every 3 hours or so, to get all my calories in, as opposed to eating like 2 really big meals. I could eat as small as 4 hour window where I'm eating at 10 and 2, but often, I'm breaking my fast when I wake up 7 or 8 o'clock, and then I'm done around 2 o'clock. So, I'll have beef, ground beef, burgers, those strips of teriyaki that you can fry up. They're delicious. I'll have waffles with kalo, and you can bring the ratio of carbs to protein up in the waffles by adding some of the protein powder. So it's still a 1-to-1 ratio, relatively low carbohydrates and stable kind of glycemic experience. Eat eggs all the time. God bless the eggs. Good thing, like, I know their source. I know the chickens. I take care of the chickens, actually harvest the eggs. So it's really cool just to be this connected with my food. I've never been this in touch with my food locally. It's one of the most satiating and grants a really high degree of security. Like, I feel much more comfortable with where I am. If you're hooked to a grocery store, you got like a 3-day supply of food in there at any one given time. So it's never really a very sound connection. Okay, there you go. Got the camera dying again. I got to keep an eye on this thing. So, supplements. Let's talk about the supplement side of things. I do get a protein. It's free range, pasture fed, whole milk protein, not whey or casein. It's a whole, complete milk protein that contains both whey and casein. I find that to be ideal. You get fast digesting and slow digesting proteins. I take a B vitamin blend. Even though meat and dairy and eggs are high in B vitamins, still the processing, the cooking, the curing lowers the B content, and we need those B vitamins to process and utilize all that protein. That's why you see damaging effects when they feed rodents high protein diets, but it's just a pure casein. There aren't the other elements that are necessary for the processing and utilization of the proteins. Then I take a vitamin D3 and a K2. Just read fascinating research on it. I want to make sure I'm up on that, even though I'm in the sun quite frequently. I want to get the blood test for that. I'll check it out. And then I take some creatine. Haven't taken that in a while. Be interesting to see how it affects me. Getting back into training heavier again as my body starts to build up more vigor and get better at just recovering from my training. I'm trying to balance all the work and the training. That's always a game. So still working on that one. So that's the main idea. I eat those primarily animal foods locally, plus the kalo that I grow, which I have so much appreciation for. I find the more I grow kalo, the more I get integrated into the community here, the more respect you have as a farmer, because kalo is our older brother. In the Hawaiian mythology, we are related to it. It is the plant that enabled the survival of generation after generation for thousands of years of the Hawaiians, and before that the Polynesians, to thrive and to make it through tough times. It can survive so many different things. It's a dense source of calories. It's just an amazing food. So I love getting more integrated into growing my own food. We got all sorts of other things growing too, getting the herbs and the peppers for the spices for the food. So other than those supplements and those animal products, that's basically what I've been doing. Basically lived like a week and a half on waffles with honey on them and ice cream, just to see what would happen. And I ended up losing 5 pounds, which is actually not ideal for me. I'm trying to put on about 15. Working on that one. I want to get up to like 160, I'm 145. So that's one of my experiments right now, seeing how I can do that while still trying to maintain a fasting window. There we go. So all in all, that's the main idea. Local animal products, homegrown vegetables, some supplements, and such a variety of food can come out of that. I'm really in a good place just with my connection to my food and the satiety that I feel, and just how I feel emotionally, how my sleep is, and how my recovery from training is. So I'm stoked right now with the simplicity and the local nature of my diet. That is like, it feels so good on every level to get local. So much more secure, so much more nutritious, and I'm just extremely grateful. So, as usual, if this brought up any kind of inspiring questions, or you want to point something out that I may be missing, I always love and appreciate the comments. We get higher together, my friend, with our synergy, because we can see each other clearly. So let's keep supporting each other. share what we feel, even if it's not a good thing, even if it's bad. I need to know. All right. And as always, looking forward to the next one. See you guys there. Peace.